how many real apocalypses has humanity actually survived over the past 2,000 years? First stop, the Roman Empire 2,000 years ago, 79 AD. Mount Vesuvius completely awoke. In an instant, the earth shook violently. Black smoke blotted out the sun, shooting over 30 kilometers into the sky. The entire sky instantly turned from broad daylight into pitch black darkness, where you couldn't see your hand in front of your face. Up to 1.5 million tons of scalding debris rained down on the ground every second. This was almost equivalent to hundreds of thousands of nuclear bombs, detonating overhead simultaneously. The two bustling ancient Roman cities of Pompeii and Herculaneum were completely wiped off the face of the earth in just a few hours. Tens of thousands of lives were frozen alive in their final seconds of agony, becoming cold fossils in the mud. 165 AD. The Antonine Plague erupted in full force. Roman soldiers who had just won victories on the front lines set foot on their journey home filled with joy, unaware that they were carrying back a gift from the Grim Reaper, most likely the smallpox or measles virus. As the army marched, the virus spread like wildfire. In just a few years, over 5 million and possibly up to 10 million people lost their lives. The organization of the Roman military was almost completely shattered. Transnational trade routes were instantly paralyzed, economic pillars collapsed, and riots and chaos broke out everywhere. 251 AD. The plague of Cyprian descended. At its peak, as many as 5,000 corpses were carried out of Rome every single day. The city of Alexandria, which originally boasted a population of 500,000, was left with only 190,000 after the plague. Rural labor was destroyed, crops failed on a massive scale, and the military could not find healthy soldiers, directly triggering the crisis of the 3rd century. Driven mad with desperation, the Roman Emperor Decius blamed it on the punishment of the gods. He forced citizens nationwide to offer sacrifices to the Roman deities, and Christians who refused to comply faced brutal, bloody persecution. 365 AD. A massive shift in the deep-sea crust near Crete triggered a mega-earthquake instantly. A monstrous tsunami, dozens of meters high, upturned the entire coastal region. In the bustling port of Alexandria, tens of thousands of lives were swallowed. The ocean pushed several kilometers inland, salinizing countless farmlands. Settlements that were once filled with laughter and joy completely vanished from the map of the world. 378 AD. The Battle of Adrianople. With near-suicidal fighting, the Goths completely surrounded and annihilated tens of thousands of elite Roman soldiers. The Roman Emperor Valens himself died, without even a whole corpse left behind. 410 AD. For the first time in 800 years, the city of Rome was trampled under the feet of foreign invaders. The Visigoths breached the gates of Rome, and barbarian soldiers looted palaces and temples frantically. Countless rare treasures accumulated over centuries were reduced to ashes. The apocalyptic overture of the Western Roman Empire officially began to play. Next comes what is recognized by historians as the most painful year, 536 AD. A series of massive volcanic eruptions occurred. Colossal volcanic ash wrapped around the Earth's entire atmosphere like a thick black quilt. For 18 whole months, the world had almost no daylight. During what should have been a scorching summer, heavy snow fell across Europe and Asia. Crops froze to death on a massive scale, followed by a global catastrophic famine and drought. What is worse, this was only the beginning. Due to prolonged malnutrition and environmental degradation, the plague of Justinian erupted shortly after, wiping out more than 1/3 of the Byzantine Empire's population. 865 AD. A massive coalition of Viking warriors known as the Great Heathen Army, swept across the coast of England. Led by Ivar the Boneless, Halfdan, and Ubba, they launched 13 years of relentless devastation. The Anglo-Saxon kingdoms collapsed one after another. Monastery wealth was plundered clean, and villages and towns were burned to ashes. 907 AD. The Great Tang Dynasty received its final death knell. China entered the 5 dynasties and 10 kingdoms period. The central authority vanished completely, and warlords slaughtered one another. Today, a general would declare himself king. Tomorrow, a regional governor would rise in rebellion. Millions died from massacres, warfare, and famine, and fertile farmlands turned entirely into desolate, uninhabited fields of weeds. 1099 AD, the First Crusade breached Jerusalem. Tens of thousands of Muslim and Jewish civilians were cut down. Regardless of men, women, young, or old in pools of blood, the Al-Aqsa Mosque was turned into a palace of pleasure. This atrocity sowed the seeds of hatred for centuries. 1138 AD, the Great Aleppo earthquake in Syria. Over 200,000 people were buried alive under the ruins, completely severing the trade lifeblood connecting east and west. 1258 AD, the Mongol army besieged Baghdad. Hundreds of thousands of residents died brutally under Mongol scimitars. Countless precious historical texts were thrown into the Tigris River. The river water was stained black and red by ink. The Islamic Golden Age came to a bloody end. Meanwhile, the Samalas volcano in Indonesia erupted, one of history's largest. Global temperatures plunged rapidly due to the volcanic eruption. The horrific winter of 1258 arrived prematurely, leading to widespread crop failures worldwide. 1347 AD, the Black Death officially descended upon Europe. Infected individuals developed horrific black spots on their skin and died within days in extreme agony. Within a few years, it wiped out more than 1/3 of Europe's population and claimed nearly 200 million lives worldwide. The source traced back to when the Golden Horde besieged the port of Kaffa, using trebuchets to hurl plague-infected corpses into the city. Terrified Genoese merchants fled by ship, inadvertently spreading black rats. Fleas across the entire Mediterranean coast. Even before the Black Death arrived, Europe had already suffered through the Great Famine of 1315, where desperate people resorted to exchanging children to eat, leaving their immune systems severely weakened. 1453 AD, the Ottoman Turks captured Constantinople, and the Byzantine Empire officially came to an end. Countless defenders and civilians were massacred, and survivors were chained into slavery. The Ottoman Empire completely choked off the Silk Road. 1520 AD, European explorers set foot in the Americas, bringing with them the smallpox virus. In many Native American communities, the mortality rate soared past 90%. Whole villages died out completely within days, leaving no one left to bury the dead. Tens of millions of innocent lives perished in agony under the dual assault of smallpox and Spanish muskets. The powerful Aztec Empire was completely reduced to the dust of history. 1644 AD, the Ming Dynasty reached its end. The Manchu cavalry poured through Shanhai Pass. Events like the Yangzhou Massacre and the Jiating Massacres unfolded, coinciding with the peak of the global Little Ice Age. Crops failed year after year. The compounding forces of war, famine, and disease ultimately resulted in a staggering 25 million unnatural deaths. 1783 AD, the Chalisa famine in India. Years of severe drought caused over 100,000 people to starve to death. At the exact same time, the Laki volcano in Iceland suffered a century-defining eruption. Half of Iceland's livestock died off within days, and over a quarter of the population perished from famine and fluorine poisoning. Deadly toxic smog drifted over Britain and France, killing thousands from respiratory diseases. Meanwhile, in 1755, a devastating earthquake hit Lisbon. The ensuing tsunami and fires almost wiped this European capital off the face of the earth, claiming nearly 100,000 lives. 1816 AD, the year without a summer. Due to the cataclysmic eruption of Mount Tambora in 1815, thick frost covered the farmlands of Europe and North America. In June, heavy snow fell in July, making it impossible for crops to mature. Massive riots and refugee crises erupted across Europe. In their ultimate despair, victims gnawed on moss from walls, ate sawdust, and even hunted stray animals on the streets. 1918 AD, the Spanish flu. In just 1 or 2 short years, it claimed nearly 50 million lives globally. This figure far exceeded the total number of battlefield deaths during the entire 4 years of World War I. 1942. The darkest hour of World War II. The Wannsee Conference raised the curtain on genocide. The Battle of Stalingrad turned into a meat grinder, relentlessly consuming thousands of young soldiers every day as the flames of war engulfed half the planet. 2020 AD, an unknown storm sweeping the globe suddenly arrived, taking countless lives and triggering unprecedented lockdowns. The global economy slammed on the brakes instantly. In the same year, Australia suffered unprecedented wildfires that lasted for months. The California and Amazon rainforests were engulfed in raging blazes. A sky-blotting locust plague in Africa and the Middle East swept through all farmlands. And a catastrophic explosion at the port of Beirut, Lebanon, flattened half the city in an instant after listening to these most despairing moments that humanity has endured over the past 2,000 years. Don't you feel that being able to sit in air conditioning and scroll through videos right now is already an immense luxury? If fate absolutely forced you to be thrown back into one of those years, which year would you be likely to survive? Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments section. Don't forget to like, follow, and share. See you in the comments.